Statement of the meeting.
Public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given in the following manner. By emailing written notice to the Carrier Post and retrospect on January 21st, 2020. By posting written notice on the official bulletin board at the municipal building on January 21st, 2020. By filing written notice with the clerk of the Borough of Woodlynne on January 21st, 2020.
Roll call.
Mr. Fontanez?
Present.
Mr. Fuentes?
Present.
Ms. Torres?
Present.
Mr. Cook?
Present.
Mrs. Feliciano? President Early?
Here.
Mayor Chewaki?
Oh, yes. Committee report, public safety, Councilwoman Torres.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam Clerk, Solicitor, Madam President, members of council, and the public. My report is for the month of January. The total cost for police department for the month of January is as follows. Calls for service, 435, parking summons 10, moving violations 53, adult arrest 10, juvenile arrest 0, driving under the influence arrest 0, borough ordinance 13. Total number of vehicles that were impounded is 4. Uniform crime report is as followed. Robbery, 1. Aggravated assault, 1. Simple assault, 1. Theft, 11. Burglary, 3. Disorderly conduct, 6. Drug offenses, 1. Motor vehicle theft, 1. Arson, 0. That is my report for the month of January, respectfully submitted by Edwin Figueroa, Director of Public Safety.
You heard the report of the public safety. Can I get a motion and second?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Feliciano, second by Councilman Fuentes. Any question? Full vote?
Oh. Mr. Fontanez?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano? President Early?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Committee report, public report by Councilman Cook.
Good evening, Mayor, Solicitor, Madam Clerk, members of council, residents. Presently, as far as my report for Public Works, Property Department, I do not have a report that was submitted to me, in my mailbox at this time, so I will read the following report the next month after, March.
You heard what he said. Can I get a motion to move forward to next month?
Motion.
Motion by Council President,
Second.
second by Councilman Fuentes. Roll call, please. Any questions? Sorry. No. Full vote?
Mr. Fontanez?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano? President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chewaki?
Yes, all yes. Committee report, emergency management, Councilman Fuentes.
Yes, at this time, I don't have no report to be given. Nothing is given, and I will be contacting the chief or whoever is in charge. For the next meeting, I will, bring up the report. For March.
You heard his statement to move forward for full report next month, March. Can I get motion and second?
Cook.
Motion by Councilman Cook. Second by Councilwoman Feliciano. Any question? Full vote?
Mr. Fontanez?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano? Yes. President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chua.
Oh, yes. Committee report, finance, Councilman Fontaine.
Good evening, Madam Clerk, Mayor, Solicitor, fellow council, members, board, and the public. Here's my report. My report for January 2020, cash receipt total for this month, tax payment, $293 we had, total of $340,836.52. Lien payments was 21, $16,225.11. Construction permits were 12, for 2,285. Lorna was 10, a total of 59,062.08. Miscellaneous payment was 72, total of 74,460.58. Total was 387, so the total amount of 431,994.11. Borough of Woodlynne Municipal Court revenue for January, for the borough was $3,224.84. For the county, $1,868.50, and for the state, $1,144.07, with a total amount of $6,237.41. This is my report.
You heard the report of finance, can I get a motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by Council President. Second by Councilwoman Feliciano. Any question? Full vote?
Mr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano? Yes. President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chua.
Yes, oh yes. Committee report for Public Affairs and Recreation, Councilwoman Feliciano.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Madam Clerk, Solicitor, Council President, Council, and the public. This is my report for the month of January 2020. On January 20th, we came together here at the Borough Hall to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We reflected on some of the positive things he did in his life and career, for him to make a positive change for equality and civil rights for every person. We were able to do a couple of activities to reflect that information and reflect his life. I'd like to extend a special thank you to Councilwoman Gwen Torres. She presented a very beautiful and insightful poem. And I'd like to thank everyone else who came out to participate. We always encourage this type of participation in the borough. And this is my report for the month of January.
You heard the report of Public Affairs and Recreation, can I get a motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by, Councilman Fuentes,
Second.
second by Councilman President. Any question? Roll call?
Mr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chua.
Yes, oh yes. Committee report for Public Works, Council President Carney.
Good evening, members of council, mayor, solicitor, members of the public. This is the Public Works report for the month of January. December. Week number 1, 7,600 pounds of 3.80 tons. Week number 2, 6,400 pounds of 3.20 tons. Week number 3, 6,620 pounds of 3.31 tons. Week number 4, 4,040 pounds of 2.07 tons. Week number 5, 9,520 pounds of 4.76 tons. Total recycling was 34,280 pounds or 17.14 tons. For trash, week number 1, 56,620 pounds or 28.31 tons. 2, 45,520 pounds, or 22.76 tons. Week number 3, 41,240 pounds, or 20.62 tons. Week number 4, 45,680 pounds, or 22.84 tons. Total trash was 189,060 pounds, or 94.53 tons. Yard waste, week number 1, number 15, week number 2, 15, and week number 4, 15. Total for yard waste were 45 yards. That was respectfully submitted by Robert Kenny. And I have the recycling and trash report for the month of January. Week number 1, we had 8,280 pounds, or 4.14 tons. Week number 2, 6,100 pounds, or 2.05 tons. Week number 3, 5,680 pounds, or 2.84 tons. Week number 4, 5,120 pounds, or 2.56 tons. Total recycling was 25,180 pounds, or 12.59 tons. For trash, week number 1, there was 53,580 pounds, or 26.79 tons. Week number 2, 56,800 pounds, or 28.40 tons. Week number 3, 52,860 pounds, for 26.43 tons. Week number 4, 44,500 pounds, or 22.25 tons. Week number 5, 40,700 pounds, or 20.35 tons. Totals for 248,440 pounds, or 124.22 tons. No yard waste at all for the month of January. Scrap metal, week number 3, we had 1,060 pounds. Total scrap metal was 1,060. That was also respectfully submitted by Robert Kenny. That concludes my report for public works.
You heard the report of the public works. Can I get a motion and second?
Motion.
Okay. Motion by Councilwoman Feliciano and second by Councilwoman Powers. Any question? Full vote?
Mr. Fontanes?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Cook? Sorry, excuse me. Mrs. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Johnson?
Thank you. Oh, yes. That concludes the committee report. And, I mentioned earlier about the correspondences that we got from, Woodlynne Township. There is no old business outstanding. This point in time, we go to new businesses. Resolution number 2020-27, resolution appointing a municipal clerk for the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey. Can I get a motion? Motion second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fuentes, and second by Councilman Fuentes. Any question?
Yes, I do pose another question.
Sure.
Is the candidate applying for the, to fill the position for the municipal clerk? Of course, I mentioned earlier, Louis Pastoria is the Camden City Municipal Clerk, which I believe is a full-time position.
That's good.
And I just wanted to know, he's stating that he's capable of also handling Woodlynne as well.
Yes.
So he's pretty much saying he's willing to handle the workload of both.
That's good.
Is it a shared service, or is it something that he's gonna be paid a salary, and as far as the salary, where's the disclosure of the salary as far as what he's gonna be paid?
Okay. This is not a full-time for him here in Woodlynne, but he's overseeing everything that we've done before it goes out, because he's certified municipal clerk.
So it's a part-time position, saying that he's pretty much taking a role over, not a full-time, but a part-time municipal clerk position.
Again, he will oversee oversees everything that we do as long as to sign and certify everything that our clerks does.
So, is it, by chance, are we able to, and I understand the need for a municipal clerk, but the language is not really specifying to me whether it's a determination of being full-time, part-time, and then how much are we paying him for this position?
All right, that is not to be made public because it's a personnel thing. However,
I mean,
you are privileged to it. If you wanna come, why don't we meet on Friday next week to certify your page on that? I'll meet with you on Friday the 21st. Can you give me time to be available?
I will, get back to you on the time. Reach out to you by phone. And
All right.
fax.
That'll be fine. Any more questions?
I'm satisfied, thank you.
Full vote?
Mr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Abstain.
Mrs. Feliciano? President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chewala?
Yes, oh yes. Resolution 2020-28, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, approving change order number 1 for Lombard Construction LLC concerning the fiscal year 2019 Angel Trust Fund, the construction of Chestnut Avenue and Linden Avenue project. Can I get a motion and second? Motion by Councilwoman Feliciano,
Second.
second by Councilman Fuentes. Any question? Full vote, please.
Mr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chewala?
Oh, yes. Resolution 2020-29, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, authorizing payment number 2 to Lindbergh Construction LLC. Can I get a motion? Excuse me, please.
Motion.
Hang on. Just want to check. Resolution 2020-29, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, authorizing payment number 2 to Lindbergh Construction LLC. Can I get motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman President, second by Councilman Fuentes. Any question? Full vote, please.
Mr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chewala?
Oh, yes. Resolution 2020-30, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, approving change order number 2 to Coastline Construction LLC for the sewer main replacement project at Cooper Avenue. Can I get motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Fuentes,
Second.
second by Councilwoman President. Any question? Full vote?
Mr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres? Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chewala?
Oh, yes. Resolution number 2020-31, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, Authorizing payment number 3 to Coastline Construction LLC for the sewer main replacement project at Cooper Street. Can I get motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman President and second by Councilman Fuentes. Any question? Full vote?
Mr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chewala?
Yes. Resolution 2020-32, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, authorizing payment application number 1 to American Asphalt. Can I get motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Feliciano,
Second.
second by Councilman Fuentes. Any question? Full vote?
Mr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres? Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chewala?
Oh, yes. Resolution 2020, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne approving October, November, and December 2019 municipal minutes. Can I get motion and second?
Cook.
Motion by Cook,
Second.
second. Second by Councilwoman President. Any question? Full vote.
Mr. Fontaine?
Abstain?
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chewala?
Oh, yes. Resolution 2020-34, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, appointing professional services. Can I get motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Feliciano,
Second.
second by Council President. Any question? Full vote?
Mr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Mayor Chewala?
Oh, yes. Resolution 2020-35, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, appointing clerical position. Can I get motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Feliciano,
Second.
second by Councilman Fuentes. Any question?
Yes. Was the clerical, one part-time position posted as far as, advertised? And if so, is it also listed in the salary ordinance? Part of the salary ordinance that we just passed, and I didn't see that position listed.
You might need to go check back on what we passed. I see there's clerical in there. It has a range.
Now, Louis Pastoria, once again, his name comes up for register of vital statistics. Is this like the other position that he's taking on as far as the municipal clerk, something temporary, or is he gonna be the actual vital statistics person as well?
Well, just like I had explained earlier, as a municipal clerk, he oversees all the work that our clerks does and make sure everything is in line as long as state guideline is concerned.
So with the vital statistics role, that's a role that he's going to have permanent, you're saying?
For instance, if you come and your wife, you wanna get married and I married you guys, I can't do it even though I am appointed to do that. I will not do it because I married you guys, I can't be, filling out all your paperwork. Somebody has to take care of that. So that's being a part of him overseeing that or sitting on my behalf since I can't do that.
And he's gonna be capable of being here to make sure that ensure that that's done, being that he's here, supposed to be in Camden full-time. And here, you're saying it's either part-time. So is this gonna be considered a part-time or a full-time position for this vital statistic role?
I don't know what you really gonna get from what I'm saying to you.
It's just a portion of the clerk's job is what it is.
It's when he's here, that's when they do the part that you're asking, marriage or anything like that. They do have to make the appointment for those dates that he is working at this township.
Well,
Mr. Cook, Councilman Cook, with all due respect, that position has been open for a long time and nobody's filling it. Okay, I can get what is available for me. For right now, he is very kind to us to come and
I'm not
help
doubting
us
that.
out. Okay?
Mayor Chawati,
Again,
I'm not.
like I said earlier, he has a full-time position in Camden, and he's gonna come here as required and needed.
So we've already established that part, but you're saying nobody looked to fulfill this position. I can't say yes or no to that. You know, I don't know the case of the application process, who turned in, who didn't turn in, what was the time frame? Did we actually give an accurate time frame? Because a lot of stuff was posted after the fact when people were appointed. It popped up in the paper for various positions. And residents have pointed that out, so I'm just trying to make clarification so that they don't come back looking at council, nor yourself, or even, you know, our solicitor and say, we said something misleading, or something was wrong, or something was posted inaccurate. Well, we're liable on our part. I just wanna make sure things were said properly. And have a clear understanding of what we're doing.
I understand, and in the same regard, I mean, you've been voting abstain, I mean, why would you worry about it? I already given you a time to meet with me on Friday, you don't wanna give me exact time to meet. That I can open up all the paperwork and all the files, so you can spend time with it.
But we're voting
So
right now.
why are we wasting time then?
We're voting right now, and meeting on Friday doesn't help me make a proper decision, especially when we're given documentation. We're voting right now on something, right after we sat up here going over everything in a short meeting span. So these papers, once again, I'm saying is being given to us tonight, and we're making a decision that affects the livelihood of everybody's day-to-day. So I wanna make the right, proper decision that I can live with and rest, without sitting up here saying yes to everything and selling the residents down the drain.
Can I ask you something, Mr. Cook? When you're saying this, just remember, there's three person that's what we're voting for. You're agreeing to the three person, that's what you're saying, correct? Not just Mr. Teresa, because apparently you've been saying that you know this guy well.
I don't have a
From Camden, but the thing is, you're not mentioning that, I'm looking at the paper, there's two other,
We
people
talked about
that's
some.
working, no, but in this paper that we have to look at, is three people we're talking about.
Okay.
So, besides just mentioning one, there is two other persons.
Okay, let's move on, have we made any motion on this?
Number 10, yeah.
Okay. Have we made any motion?
Yes, we
And
did,
is
we
that
did,
the motion?
we did.
Okay.
Luciana Fuentes.
Okay. Can I get a vote, please?
Mr. Fontanes?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Cook? Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
I abstain.
Mrs. Feliciano? President Early?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Excuse me, Mayor, it was, 5 yes and 1 abstain. You mentioned all yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the
Yes,
third time.
Point of correction is,
65 yes.
5 yes, 1 abstain.
Thank you.
Resolution 2020-36, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, approving a change order number 1 for American Asphalt Company, Inc. for the fiscal year 2016 NJ DOT Trust Fund Reconstruction of M Avenue Project. Can I have motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by Council President and second by Councilman Fuentes. Any question? Full vote?
Mr. Fontanes?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres,
Yes.
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano,
Yes.
President Early,
Yes.
Mayor Chowaki.
Yes. Resolution 2020-37, resolution of the Borough of Woodlynne, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of abandoned and personal vehicle by the Borough of Woodlynne. Can I get motion and second?
Motion?
Motion by Councilwoman Feliciano, second by Councilman Fuentes. Any question? Just for those that didn't come while we were going through this, resolution, the borough is planning to sell off 5 of their vehicles. 2010 Chevy Impala, there are 2 of them. 2002 Dodge Caravan, 2005 Ford Crown Victory, and 1999 Ford Crown Victory. So they are uniting with the Belmont to sell it off. And the location is 1040 Creek Road, Belmont, New Jersey. And starting by 10 in the morning, the date is March 28th, in case if you are interested in purchasing any of them. All right. You gonna vote?
Mr. Fontaine,
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes,
Yes.
Ms. Torres,
Yes.
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mrs. Feliciano, President Early,
Yes.
Mayor Chowaki.
Oh, yes. Resolution 2020-38, sure service agreement between the Borough of Woodlynne and the Borough of Belmont, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, relative to the creation of the soccer field located at the Fort and Linden Greenacre facility. Can I get motion and second?
Motion.
Motion by Council President, second by Councilwoman Feliciano. Any question?
Yeah, with the soccer field, now, they're gonna be doing the complete resurfacing and everything, and what's going to be the reassurance as far as, the prevention of the soccer field re-flooding, especially the area, knowing that the back end wasn't dredged.
Well, they are working this in conjunction with our engineers, and they are very much aware of the flood, and they are building it in lieu of the flood.
What engineering company?
Our borough engineer.
So Bach, you're saying is dealing with the, basically guaranteeing that area, once that, they finish the reconstruction of that soccer field, that it's not going to flood in that back end.
Nothing is ever guaranteed in life, not even our life is guaranteed. Not even a few minutes out of here, our life will be guaranteed.
All right.
Do you have another question?
Yes. So basically, we're looking at the chance that we're putting good on top of that. Doing the soccer field, seeing it flood, seeing our money wasted without rectifying the problem, which we do know consists of the creek.
Do you have any question, please?
Are they going to do further studies as far as bringing in Army Corps engineer, as far as Bach looking further into seeing that this creek can be dredged, as far as working with the county, as far as working with Collinswood to resolve the issue with the flooding towards the back end? Why fix something that's only gonna get covered with water and damage? A waste of taxpayers' money.
Your question is noted. Any more question?
That's not giving me an answer to my question. What's
That's
the
not-
promise that, what's
That's
the
not a
promise that
question. You are observing things that you don't even know,
And I'm-
that there has been people who had done some study trying to find a way to mitigate the flood flowing back into that court once it is get done. When you have time, take a walk and go and see what they have done preliminary. Or Or if you want, you can mount your camera there to watch what they're gonna build up, how they plan to stop the water coming in. And besides, the summer is coming soon, and our kids need a place to go and play soccer. Instead of having a chair over there on the baseball field, sometimes they get kicked out, they have no place to stay.
Look, 3 weeks back, they had a lake back there, full of waste. My question to you, since you sat up there and said, you wanted me to pose a question, I asked you, did they what is the plan to make sure, to give us reassurance that that back area is not going to flood? Have they laid out groundwork, a blueprint, stating that we're gonna do X, Y, and Z, we're gonna, reassure that this back end is not going to flood this soccer field area that we're putting together? What's to prevent the soccer field from being destroyed or damaged?
Can I answer?
And that's a question I posed to you.
Okay.
No, you
What
did
is your
two of
game
them.
plan?
You did two. You did one
Councilman-
question and you did something else.
Councilman, originally, the tennis court, do you know what elevation it was, the grade?
I'm asking you, that's why I asked the question.
I'm answering you your question, do you know?
No, I do not.
Oh, you do
Could
not,
you please
okay.
explain? I don't understand your engineering.
Apparently, the, tennis court was on the lower grade. Now, what they're building up there when they're done is gonna be on a higher grade. However, there is no guarantee that we all live in Woodlynne. I don't know if you know the history of Woodlynne. Okay, Woodlynne used to be a water museum. Okay, now because Woodlynne is a water museum will not stop us from making progress. It will not. We will do anything that we can do. Every inch that we move is a progress. I just want you to look at it that way. And don't be an obstructionist to progress.
There's nothing wrong with progress.
Okay, now you have your opportunity to vote yes or vote no. If you have any more question, again, we can meet on Friday. I can answer you with anything you want. Or you could spend time to go and watch them doing that construction. Or you can read what was given to you as a part of the things they say they're gonna put in there. What they're going to do to prevent that, to raise that elevation up, is right there on the package you have.
All right.
So now, please vote.
Mayor Chouwaki?
Yes.
I'm in charge of buildings and grounds. It was never brought to my attention, nor has a phone call reached out to me, an email reached out to me to inform me of anything taking place with the soccer field. I just see machines move back and forth, as well as companies come here and do things back and forth, and I'm not made aware of anything. So you say meet with you on Friday, but once again, we're voting on something that contains taxpayers' money.
No,
So-
actually for a grant.
It's still taxpayers' money.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. This is not, taxpayers' money. This is grant that was given. Let me go back and say something. Last year, I remember that the ex-mayor, the other mayor, brought up that they was gonna do construction in the field that used to be the tennis court, and it was mentioned several times in the meeting, and you were here at the meeting, and it was repeated that they was gonna do is turn the dirt, take everything out, and they're gonna do to build a soccer, because there's a lot of kids that's coming that wants to play soccer, and it wasn't safe when they had the tennis court, okay? So it was agreed and approved to do that and make that changes. If you had any questions, which I'm not mistaken, I think you were still in with the building and everything. If you had any questions, you should have brought it up back then also. But you're bringing something that was presented last year and was approved to look further and to study, okay? And now you're bringing this after last year. So I don't understand, what is it that you're saying now, that you're taking interest now, thinking that the people and everything else, that area over there, if you look at the whole place, it's not just there, it's everywhere that's having the flood. Cooper Avenue is having the flood, because like the mayor said, one time, like, they used to call it like Clementon Park or whatever, they used to have a big, they just did landfill and they built more homes. But it's nothing secure, because, like I said, you never know what happened, okay? If something happened, that's something we could bring it up later. But at this point, it's always, and I'm not mistaken, because when there's a flood there, the police and the public work do secure that area and close it so nobody can come, okay? So they're making sure that it's so safe that the kids don't come there and then there's no kids there. So if you're gonna tell me that they're not, that the engineer and everything else, that's nothing you can promise and 100%. In this world, it's nothing 100%, okay? You can say yes and everything else, and you know it's always something. Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is what the mayor said, you gotta understand, okay? I know this is maybe new and stuff, but this is not like Camden, this is not Collinswood, this is not Pennsauken, this is a small town that used to be a lake there, okay? And they did landfill and they did construction of these homes, not knowing what's gonna happen in the future, and this is what has been ongoing for over 20 years. People that live there knows it, and we've been trying to improve it, doing the sewage, doing everything. Thank you.
You're talking about decades of work that has been done here towards the back end area of Woodland. Countless times where, whether it was grant money, tax money, federal money, state money, money that was appropriately used for an area to upgrade, uplift, make it look better, that continues to go through the same engineering company that comes in and do the same engineering, replace the same streets, and it still floods back there. There's nothing laid out as far as groundwork. There's nothing laid out there as far as bringing any type of new ideas to the table. I hear residents giving more complaints, especially with how the sidewalks are now, than they have before. And when you go back there, especially when we had all that waste in the back where residents are still smelling the waste and they're still complaining about the waste. And I step in that waste every day when I'm dropping my daughter off and I have to dust her shoes off and take her shoes off at the house because she runs straight into the carpet. So at the end, you know, it's just trying to make sure that things are done properly here. You know, we've had the same engineering company and I don't question their work, but at the end, nothing's changed. So when it comes to, you know, asking questions about work that's being done towards the soccer field area, I want the kids, and believe the kids should have an avenue and an outlet to be able to have recreation. But nevertheless, not at the cost that is gonna, you know, be harmful to them because they're gonna be dealing with waste, filth, and debris that's coming from the creek. It defeats the purpose.
Excuse me, the creek, both township belongs to?
Please, people are listening to what Council Cook is saying. Let it be known that there has never been a time that place is flooded and recessed that the county did not go and disinfect it. And when you walk through there, on either side, you see a white substances flickered all over the place. So for him to go on ahead and say that people who get hurt or he cleaned his daughter's shoe or whatever, just let everybody know that. Whenever you see that flood, they put that gate. Once that gate is removed, walk in there the next day, the county will come and do their work. It has always been done. So just want to put that out. However, at this point in time, I'm going to move on for vote.
Mr. Fontenot?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
No.
Mrs. Feliciano?
Yes.
President Early?
Yes.
Yes, one absolute.
No.
One is no, I'm sorry, one no. Approval of bills, prepaid bills and invoices not listed on the bill list. Can I get motion and second? Motion by Council President,
Second.
second by Council Fuentes. Any question? Vote please.
Mr. Fontenot?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Feliciano,
Yes.
President Early,
Yes.
Oh, yes. Do we have any other new business? Okay. Now we're gonna open it up for the public portion. Please come up, state your name, your address, and please face us while we are.
Kathy Wisner?
Hold on, let me finish, please. Okay. Now, I would like everybody to know that conversation is one-on-one and understanding and listening to each other. Last time people have come up here very agitated and very angry. We shouldn't be. We should be able to have open mind in anything that we are saying, so we could have a very conclusive decision to where we're moving forward with this. That's it. Please.
Kathy Wisner, 200,
Could you come up here for council members, please? Thank you.
Kathy Wisner, 200.5 Evergreen Avenue. Quick question. Who's in charge of permits for, like, when you get a building permit?
Oh, you have to call here.
No, when you have one, you get the work done.
You have to call for the inspectors to come.
Okay.
You have to call the office
So
here.
3 years ago, I called everybody that was on town council. I came to the borough with my permit. Nobody ever came to my house. You have a month.
Well, council members don't send the inspectors to the office.
Well, right, but I've gone to the office 3 times with my permit, talked to the mayor. Yeah, Jerry, yeah, I brought my. No. Okay, so anyway, when do they come back? I've called them 3 times, they've never come. It's been 3 years, never got my permit inspected. So where do you go from there?
Got you where you live.
Where do I live? I don't really need you to come to my house anymore, because when the permit was supposed to be approved, that ruined my, guarantee on my heater, because it was never inspected by the borough. Got a permit, like we're supposed to get a permit. Called, nobody ever came out to inspect the permit.
Is the company that installed your
Yes.
heater, they call for
Yes.
inspections as well? Because that's
Yes.
part of my job, that's why I'm
I
asking.
called, I actually left messages on your voicemail to see if you could help me out. I believe 3 other people, like, hey, I got a permit, nobody's coming.
Because I know we have them.
So, guess
on
what?
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Most people in town do work, and they don't get permits, because nobody comes out to inspect after the permit's done. So that's a little thing that you might wanna figure out who's in charge of your permits, who inspects your permits, who gives your permits.
We gotta understand that we went through more than 2 people, correct?
You have to understand that I paid for a
No, I know.
permit. And then since my inspection didn't get done, the guarantee on my heater is gone. Because it was never fully inspected within the 60 days that it was supposed to be inspected. So now when my heater doesn't work and I call, I don't have a guarantee because it was never inspected. So,
Can I ask you something?
sure can, I still have the permit at home, if we need to see that.
Who installed your heater?
You know what, I'm not really sure I want you to know, because I'm not really sure I want you to come and not do my heater or shut my house down. I'm just telling you. Hutchinson installed it. They called, I called the office, came down to the office, I left a couple messages on the couple.
And this was 3 years ago?
This is 3 years ago. I continually came down to the office with my permit, with permit number. They couldn't find the permit number, but I had a copy of it.
Did you?
So now I have a heater with no guarantee.
Hi, Ms. Canty, I know that we've been having, a good inspection people here.
You know what, we're done. I don't really want a permit or anybody else to come in my house.
Yes.
Because at this point, it's like, well, now if it's not correct, then I'm not redoing the work. So my feeling is when I do get something or I build something in my house, I won't get a permit again. You know, I have people across the street that got a roof with no permit. So I have to pay a permit fee.
What is
For what?
What is the address of the people across the street, do you know?
You know, I'm not even diming them out. You know, I'm just telling you.
Excuse me, guys, please. If you are coming here to, say something that we all want to indulge into to find a way moving forward, and we are asking you a question like, who is the relativity of your comparison, and you're not willing to say, please, I will say, don't even come up to say anything, because you are not helping us.
Then here would be my question. So if I come get a permit, I don't have a lot of confidence that a permit is to protect me, to make sure that everything is installed correctly. And then the borough gets a little fee, you come out, make sure that it's correctly installed. I, as a homeowner, feel good about that. I don't feel good about the fact that I had to shell out $75 for a permit, and then when I called, no one came to inspect it. I called again. How many times do I have to come to the borough to ask you to come do your job to protect me as a resident?
Kathy, it's from your mouth that this happened 3 years ago.
I will bring my permit down to the borough tomorrow.
Excuse me, it's from your mouth that since that 3 years, you've never come here to make a statement. And now you're coming after 3 years to tell me
Right, my
all
question
this
is,
stuff.
because I need to get another permit for something else. So I would like to know, who do I contact? Because apparently, we have lots of clerks, and I'm not sure what clerk gives me permits.
No, she goes down the basement, you go to that window and ask them. You are referencing things that happened 3 years ago to
But I
what is
continually
going
have
on
come
now.
down here.
Okay.
Every 6 months, I come down to the
Now,
borough
all I'm
and
saying
ask.
to you is, you go down there to ask for a permit. If they did not give you a permit, you know my phone number, call me.
But when I
will
get a
follow
permit,
up.
nothing seems to work. Because for
This
3 years,
is- don't
every
compare
6
3
months,
years to now.
I was there 6 months ago asking about it.
Asking
They
about
can't
the
even
same
find my permit.
Asking the same permit of 3 years ago?
It's the same permit that I continually ask when someone is, I need, it's a plumbing and a electrical one that I have.
The construction clerk for the past two, since I've been on, was Jerry.
No,
And
no.
no, it was
No.
the construction clerk.
No, it wasn't. No.
So who was the construction clerk? Because
He comes here evening only once, I think, a week.
It's Friday, isn't it?
all right, so I retract from saying that, but at the end of the day, we need to have something set in place where the residents can know the time frame that they can meet certain individuals, whether it's the construction clerk, whether it's any other position that's downstairs, that if that person comes in evening hours, the residents can meet with that person during evening hours, just as much as you shared with me, your availability, it should be for the residents to know as well.
I
But if she
understand that, okay? Listen, man, please, do me a favor. You go downstairs at your convenience. Whether the construction person is there that day or not, somebody should be able to take our information and forward it to who needs to get hold of her to pick an appointment that is convenient for her.
But at this point, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't. So it's actually like a plumbing person, apparently I was told, a plumbing person has to come, and then an electrical person has to come, are they one person?
No, they're two different.
Okay, so you have to make appointments, 2 different people to come check it out.
No, all you need is to go down there,
Okay.
tell them what you need. You need
See you
electrical
tomorrow.
or
They
whatever.
will tell you when they're there.
You get the
I'll see you
information.
Monday, no, it's closed, Tuesday. Gotcha.
Tuesday, go down there, somebody should be able to take your information. If the individual responsible for those departments are not available, they should be able to call you back to book an appointment to sit with you to know whatever you need to fill your application.
Doesn't matter,
Any more?
Sonia Gibby, 1918 Woodlynne. So I have a question. First of all, let's start with positive. I could hear everyone today. That was great. Last time, not so much. So that was an improvement. So I would like to know which members of council, if they feel comfortable answering this, believe that a time limit on the public portion is a good idea.
I do.
Okay. This last question took 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not 5. And, okay, so that didn't work. That would have cut off 2 minutes.
But we didn't put it in effect yet.
No, not yet, but I'm just bringing it up.
You're
And you,
saying-
and you, and I noticed that, that's good. But at the same time, we did have 2 meetings. We did have 2 opportunities to talk. Now we have 1. And now we're being restricted even further. So I'm just gonna be on the record, I'm a resident, I don't like this.
Well, I just wanna say something in behalf of that. In Camden, Maple Shade, and Cherry Hill, they do have time limits. I've been to several meetings and they do have a timer.
Do they have 2 meetings together?
But there aren't usually 7 people.
Do
there
they
are
have 2
usually 7 of
meetings
us.
though? I mean, do they have 2 meetings combined?
No.
Well, there's a difference.
What 2 meetings here?
You just had 2 meetings tonight. You're
Yeah,
having
these
all
are
your
workshops.
meetings together.
That was a workshop.
No, I know, but
That
we
was
used to
nice.
have 2
Oh,
meetings and we used to be able to talk twice.
Oh,
And that's why I feel that
Oh,
we're
so
being
that- I
restricted
hear
even
what you-
further.
Right.
And the thing about Cherry Hill is, it's much larger than we are. There are more people tonight, and that's great. I really like the participation. But there are usually only 7 of us on a good night.
So what would you say would be
I
reasonable?
don't believe there should be 1. That's just me. I've been coming here every single meeting for about 1.5 years.
So if someone came up and took a whole 30 minutes, that would be okay with you?
I don't think it's happened. I don't see a need, that's just me. I don't see a need for it.
Hello, Jeff Goodwin, 315 Cypress. Councilman Cook alluded to it a little bit, and I just wanted to know, you know, with we had a pretty heavy storm a couple weeks ago, and the sewer lines backed up, and raw sewage came up out of the sewer manholes. Just want to know what caused that.
Is the county, I don't know how many inches of pipe that is running the major trunk on 4th Street. Now, they collect a lot of sewage going into that pipe. And at one point in time, if the capacity cannot handle it, it has it stopped receiving from all the roof sources.
So you said the roof sources?
Roof, tributaries.
Oh, okay.
Tributaries.
Okay.
And then it stopped receiving, and then it stopped backing up.
Okay, so the expectation then is, well, I know what has the county said or provided that's going to fix that or address that issue?
It's been going on, and for right now, what they do after the sediment settle down, migrate back somehow, they will come in that first day and disinfect the area, and they've been doing that.
So is this being created by stormwater or sewage? What created the problem?
Overflow of maybe 100 years of storm. Overflow of maybe 200 years of storm. Once in, I don't know when it happens.
So is this sewer system a combined storm and sanitary system? And if it's not, then how is this stormwater getting into the sanitary system to back it up and have the sewage come out of manholes?
I don't know how that get in. I don't know what is a combined. Now, before, our manhole used to be pushed out. And right now, what they did was to reduce the chain holding it down so it can only raise up about that high and start seeping out. But it has been something going on ever since. It just did not start today because of their major trunk they have on 4th Street. Even ever before we built all those houses down there.
So the solution currently is they're just gonna come clean it up. Is there any initiative being done through Public Works to try to work with them to actually solve the problem instead of having sewage come up during significant rain events, to do that? Who's spearheading that, that action?
We actually don't have anybody heading towards that action because there has been something done in the past that we didn't have any resolution to the major trunk.
I would volunteer if you'd be willing to have me, because that is a horrible thing for people to have sewage backing up into the streets in front of that. Thankfully, I don't live in a spot that backed up, but I can't imagine if that was me and my kids can't go out and play. I walked my dog through there about 2 days later, and the stench was overpowering, and that is not right. So.
Now, bear in mind that, there was, sewage work that was done on 400 Local Cooper, and that was done to, help with the situation and to make sure before all those homes on Cooper Avenue used to go into their basement. Now, some of the grant we got, we used to build a backflow preventer to help when it started coming in, it will stop them from going into people's houses. And that was recently done last year.
Yeah.
So those are an improvement that was done by this council and the mayor. And the major trunk is the major trunk owned by the county. And how can we help out so that it will stop backing up? Like I said to you before, all the manholes within that area, it will lift it up and it goes away. And it becomes a track for a vehicle going in there. We talked to them about it, they reduce it and put a chain link about a foot. Now that foot is still pushing it off the manhole. And we talked about it, now they remove it, they reduce it down about that much, an inch or two. So whenever you see that backflow coming, it doesn't lift it all the way up, but it just come up a little bit. That's an improvement being done.
I'm not saying there hasn't been improvements, but in that one storm, people posted videos, you had sewage gushering a foot out of the ground, blowing up out of the manholes. And again, I just think somebody should be taking initiative with the county to solve whatever their infiltration problems are that are causing this. That is not a sanitary condition that the people of Woodlynne are living with that. And I'm just, like I said, I've offered my service if it's helpful.
Thank you, Jeff.
Back to the soccer field, that was a lot of discussion. I didn't realize that the plan was to provide, and correct me if I'm wrong, so the elevation of the tennis court, say, was here, if you don't mind me using it, and now you're gonna raise the grade so it's up to here. Did I understand that's kind of what the plan is?
Yep.
So that now you're gonna be out of the, and we all agree that's a flood area to begin with, right? So my question is, in order to put fill into a floodplain area, you need DEP permits. Has Bach Associates applied for the necessary DEP permits to fill in a floodplain to raise that soccer field?
Now, when we talk about DEP permit on a flood area, that's if it is area that is pervious and impervious categorized. That area has already been impervious because of the concrete that was there. And that really waived us off from obtaining any permit from DEP because we are not reducing the influx into the ground. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Well, I hear, hold on, we gotta take.
My apologies.
Take your time, take your time.
I guess then what I would ask is if you could have Bach provide some kind of, something in writing to the governing body that they've reviewed NJAC, I think it's 7:13, which the Flood Hazard Control Act, and that no permit is needed. Because I don't agree with the assessment, but if Bach gives it to this body, fantastic. I just don't want Woodlynne to be exposed because we didn't get the proper permits necessary to fill in a floodplain.
Jeff exposes the highest hypocrisy I'm hearing from you. However, if you go back to your section, I need you to read the place that said pervious and impervious. That is a guarantee of whether you're gonna apply or you're not gonna apply. and it's being applied to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer on the, okay. However, I will also let Bob maybe
That would be
give you a letter.
fantastic.
All right.
That would be great, thank you. We've had several meetings talking about the code book. I just wanna know what the status of the codification of the code book is.
Yes, it's still ongoing.
What's the status? Like, at what stage in the process have things happened?
They have sent us sample, and we look at it, and they ask for more information, which we have provided for them.
And,
So we are
and what's the
ongoing.
time period that this took place? Like what, last week, last month, 6 months ago? When did they send the sample? And when was the response given or not given?
What relevant is it to you?
Excuse me?
What relevant is it to you?
Because I think we need a code book, and if you look at the contract that was signed by General Code, we should have a fully 100% code book by, I think it's June of this year. And I just wanna make sure we're on track to do that.
I'm just telling you that we are. I just told you discussion we had with the lady.
Okay.
Okay, I don't even know who the person is, but I said, lady, when I found out, we spoke to him. She has sent us sample, we've looked at it. She asked for more information, we forwarded it to
Okay.
her, and it's on the work. Hopefully before the time you're talking about it might be out.
Okay, all right, great. Could I get if I put an open request in, can I get a copy of that draft that she sent over?
You,
No?
It's not an official document,
Okay,
and it has not been formally recognized. Obviously, once the code book is approved, that conforms with the current code and ordinances, then obviously, of course, it would be subject to an approval.
okay, thanks, Ms. Lizu. We've also had a lot of conversation about working with the county to adjust the tax rate, the equalization rate. Again, just wanna know where that stands and who's working on that.
unfortunately, you were late, and it was talked about earlier.
Oh, can you? Okay.
Jeff, you were late in the meeting, it was talked about earlier. You could ask
Okay,
those who were in the
I'll
meeting,
ask them.
or you can
Did
put
you
up a
guys
request and
also-
and get the minute of the meeting.
That's fine. Did you guys also talk about the intersections we've been talking about for a long time and putting up stop signs, and what's the status of that?
We are moving forward with it, and we are not putting any stop sign, because we don't wanna disrupt any flow on Woodlynne Avenue. But we're gonna be taking back a couple of parking lots so that the side distance will be apparent.
Okay, Mr. Bach was here several months ago and I thought recommended putting the stop signs in. Who's making the decision not to do that? And is that the whole governing body, or who's making that decision?
Jeff, remember, Mr. Bach came and he had two decisions, not just one. You just bring in one. One was, like you mentioned, and the other one was to spread it. Okay, so don't bring just one thing, just bring both things, please. Because you remember that, and he was here, and he did mention two of them.
I'm not gonna disagree with that, but I thought the conversation was parking is so limited that it wouldn't make sense to reduce parking in the area, but if that's the decision, then so be it. The residents who live over in that area might not be thrilled with that.
They're not.
Let's see. Oh, back to the conversation earlier about the part-time municipal clerk and Register of Vital Statistics. What are the office hours for those positions if we wanted to contact the municipal clerk? How does one do that?
Because they are, because they both are part-time clerks, and I think one work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the other one work Tuesday and Thursday. So anytime you call in during their working hour, you will always get somebody to answer your question.
No, I mean, to talk specifically to the municipal clerk, how does one do that? If I come into the office during the workday, apparently the municipal clerk's in Camden, so how do
Okay,
I?
so you gotta ask, no, you gotta come downstairs and ask when is the municipal clerk available so I can speak with them. Don't come and say that you could walk there and not ask him and say, oh, where's the municipal clerk if he's in Camden? You know the right way And you, as a person that's knowledge to know it, right? You know that if you come downstairs and you ask, is the municipal clerk here? If they say no, then you ask them, when is he available here? When can I see him? Correct? That's the right way to do it.
Which is what
It
he's doing
but
now.
I'm kinda asking you guys, when will that be? Is there a night that's been designated? I'm just curious to know, is it?
Just come downstairs and ask them.
Well, if you don't know the answer, who's gonna tell them what the answer is?
Who's them?
Whoever I'm gonna go and ask. Whoever's downstairs, how are they gonna have an answer if this governing body can't tell me the answer?
They will tell you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Robert Baum, 1918 Woodlynne Avenue. So to touch on the municipal clerk, I have the same copy of the law that I provided to you guys last month. And it states that the duties of the municipal clerk is to do what she is doing. So where's the clerk?
The
didn't ask you.
Clerk doesn't have to run a meeting.
The municipal clerk shall act as secretary of the municipal corporation and custodian of the municipal seal and of all minutes, books, deeds, bonds, contracts, archival records of the municipal corporation.
Correct, so he
Hold
can
on,
sit and he
hold
can
on.
listen to the tapes, he doesn't have to sit.
Act as a
in the
secretary for the
meetings.
governing body, prepare meeting agendas at the discretion of the governing body, be present at all meetings of the governing body, keep a journal of the proceedings of every meeting, retain the original copies of all ordinances and resolutions, and record the minutes of the meetings. So again, if he's not here, how is he recording the meeting, the minutes?
She really answered it earlier. We got recording right here. Got information.
That does not, you're saying that recording
That's-
supersedes the law?
You need to calm down, okay? This is recording,
I know it's recorded.
okay?
That's not what I asked you.
What was your question again?
My question is, where's the clerk?
Where is the clock?
Where's the municipal clerk?
He's not
According to
here.
the law, the clerk's supposed to be here for
No, he-
all government meetings.
He is not here.
Say the law.
However, she is here deputizing on his behalf. And he
You said
will
that
listen
last
to
time, and that's why
It
you're not
doesn't
up
say
there.
anything about it being able to be deputized. It says that the municipal clerk is supposed to
Do
be
it.
here.
Solicitor, may I ask a question? To his question, if the municipal, he's actually holding documentation that government documentation. Fine, when did you receive the documentation from?
I got this from a website called Justia, but it's for statute 40A 9-133.
So if he's reading this from a statute,
Where you got it from again?
what,
I heard one word, but can you repeat that again, please?
This is for statute.
Where did you get it from?
Justia, Justia. That was the name of the site.
And where's that information coming from Justice? Is that from the state of New Jersey, or is
Yes,
that
this is the
something
state of New Jersey.
so if he's reading this, and this information is accurate, whether it be the municipal clerk or the, or the clerk, well, not the clerk, the municipal clerk or the, the deputy clerk should serve the role where they should be sitting in the place of where she's sitting. In other words, there's qualifications that you have to be bonded, or have a background, you know, in that field.
As the municipal clerk, that's correct.
Yeah. So what he's basically saying is, are you asking why is he entitled to sit here to be?
No, my point is that since Councilman Fuentes went the way that he did with the questions regarding the availability of the municipal clerk, I'm merely pointing out the fact that the clerk is supposed to be here.
Mr. Baum, with all due respect, you're clearly agitated, and you have to understand that, again, I'm very new to the council and the borough. It's my understanding that the search for a clerk has been ongoing for quite some time. The clerk that you referred to, Mr. Pastoriza, was just appointed this evening.
Right.
So it is not my understanding of the law that it is a legal requirement that they be present for every meeting, and that they could not, in fact, designate one of their employees in the office to fulfill the roles of attending meetings.
Okay.
I'll be happy to look at the statute
Okay.
that you referred to. I took it down, and report back to you next meeting.
Okay.
That-
And for the record, it's less agitation, more anxiety. Thank you.
Roland Fuentes, 207 Citrus Avenue. I want to bring up a few things, first of all. On the history for the flood situation that I kind of heard here, this has been an ongoing issue for many, many years. Back when Drew Coyle was mayor, we fought CCMUA when I was on council. We had raw sewage coming up, we seen the manhole pressure come up, with raw sewage come up. Absolutely, this is something that residents should not have to deal with. But we continue to fight and we continue to work together to see what we can do. One thing that we were able to get accomplished was to get change on those man covers because they were floating away. But this is something that this governing body can do. And Mr. Cook, you talk about how the raw sewage is out there. You know, obviously, you know, make the initiative to reach out to CCMUA and see what can be done. Now, obviously, we've known this problem for many, many years, and I know you being new here, not familiar with all the raw sewage that goes on and what happened with the flooding, but this is something that's beyond our control. This is something that it falls on the county level with the CCMUA, not the borough of Woodlynne. Just wanted to share that with you. I also wanted to applaud the mayor for moving forward, and council moving forward for our children. Definitely we need a site. Yes, you know what, even at the basketball court, you still get raw sewage back up when the area comes in. We can't control the tide, we can't control Mother Nature, but we do need to provide something for our children. Instead of going negative, we should look at positive and looking at solutions. Because anybody can put the blames on people and decide to say that why should we spend money here, why should we do this? Let's come up with some solutions. Because that's the way to move forward. Let's work with this mayor. Let's make sure that we can do things successfully by coming together. Not looking for negative. You know, talked about last month there was some comment made that a municipal clerk has to be certified. You can appoint someone without the certification, and if you read further, people would do their study really well and read further, it would clearly state that you can appoint somebody and allow it for up to a year to get the certification, and the DCA can also get an extension for another 2 years. So there are things that people come here without doing their homework and trying to give misinformation.
What's the question?
I'm not talking to you, man. I'm talking to council. Let me speak. I have my time.
It's been 5 minutes.
I'm talking to Mayor Kelson.
I don't, 5 minutes.
So,
No, I know, I'm just saying.
I want to say, you know,
Excuse me, please, please, please. When somebody's talking, let's just pay attention to what he's saying.
we have things to move forward, and I just want to say that I hope that, you know, with the new mayor and the council can really focus on coming together instead of going all negative and moving forward with positive, like some of these council people have done. You know, it's a shame that we have to deal with this in different manners and go with misleading. But I want to say I would like to say to council, Fontaines, congratulations, welcome, good luck. And I think that's gonna be for my time right now, because I have plenty to say in the next month meeting.
Mr. Mayor, Council. Public. My name is Billy Williams. I live at 136 Elm Avenue. Okay. One thing I want to say is simple. First of all, I don't see any police. Oh, I do see a police officer here. I would like to congratulate them on their fast response to the shooting that occurred here in Woodlynne. They now have a resolution that I understand as to what took place, so that's good work on their part. And even though we have a small police department, you will never have enough police to cover any city. I don't care what city you live in, because no one can afford to pay all the taxes to put a police officer at every corner. That's just not gonna happen. If anyone think that, then their mind is blown. All right, and I've been in many cities, I've been on police departments, and I've been a police officer in the past. We're not gonna see everything, they're not gonna see everything. So we need the public, since we have so many caring people here in Woodlynne, we need the public to keep their eyes open. And when they see things that's happening within the community, report it. If you see strange vehicles in your area, on your block, do what I do. I have no problem calling the police, because I don't want those people around my property. I don't want certain things going on. And when I see it in the neighborhood, I report it. Don't be afraid to open your mouth and report things that need to be reported so they can do their job better and our community can be safe. Yes, I think we need to limit the time, and I think I used my 5 minutes. I'm gonna sit down.
Happy goes to 200 and a half after an hour. Down this end of town, there are parking spots, I guess, whenever, Woodlynne Avenue, that are whited out, that actually go into the yellow. So the yellow curb comes around, and then there's the parking right there. So the car that parks there is in the yellow curb. If you've noticed, I believe it's Cooper, not Cooper, it's, Parker, Parker and Woodlynne Avenue.
Parker and Woodlynne?
Yeah, like right there, you can, kind of like the intersections. So if you're parked, you're kind of illegally parked, but you're really not, because there's white lines there.
Yeah.
And it's, I was coming down there, and it's kind of tough to see around the corners. I know it's always been a problem, but when you have people parked right up against the corners, it's really hard to even see around to turn or anything like that. I wasn't sure if anybody noticed. I wasn't sure if they did the white and then they did yellow, or the yellow, then like if there was two different people, because it's bright yellow, and then like I said, the yellow may start here, and then the white goes into the yellow.
Look at us, public works.
Yes. And thanks for painting that.
You're welcome.
3rd Street, 2nd Street.
Also, if I may say, if anybody see any person parking illegally or overshooting the yellow line they're not supposed to, you could just take a picture of it, text it to me, and I will forward it to the police on duty. And I've told them, this is not time to go knock at the door to say whose car is this. It's time to just give them a ticket. When they pay it 1 and twice, they will stop blocking or doing that illegal parking.
Hi, Kelly Jankowski, 122 Maple. I was just wondering, we always have the police officers here, and we never had police in our meetings all the years that I've been coming. If we needed a police officer, we would call, and they were here within minutes, but we never have any outburst or anybody taken out of here. And since the crime in our town has gone up so much, wouldn't you think it'd be better to let the police be out on the street patrolling instead of sitting in here? Because, I mean, have you ever seen anybody get dragged out of here by the police yet? I haven't.
Just because they're not dragged or anything else, but you need.
But what do they do?
If it does go out of control, you have to have.
Then they're right
We
downstairs.
never had police officer in our meetings, never in a
If you
lifetime.
go to any other county of borough that doesn't have it.
And we have two. I
No,
mean,
I'm saying, did you go to any of those meetings, and did you see that they don't have it?
yeah,
They
I've
don't
seen,
have
I've
it.
been in Mount Ephraim, they don't have a police officer. I've been here for 30 years and never seen police officers. If there was a problem, we would call, but there's, I mean, the cops are right here. We only have 10 blocks. I mean, it's not like we're coming out of real far area, but we've had shootings, we've had burglaries. cars are getting broken into,
Cars
houses
are shot.
getting raided, there's drugs all over the streets. The kids are running wild, so, I mean, it would be safer for us to have the officers out the street.
Do you actually have these people that, call the police, like the gentleman, and we all say over and over, don't be afraid to call the police.
Call the police.
They will come there.
I'm not saying at my house, I'm saying here. It's a waste of time to have them sitting here when there's so much crime in our town. It's been picking up more. So I think it would be safer for us to let the police go out on the street. And if somebody acts like a nut and we can't control them in here, we can call the police and have them come and take them out. It's only 10 blocks. It's not like we could, they're coming a distance.
Well, Kelly, point of correction, there is not so much crime in our town.
Well, we've had a lot of crime, I mean, a shooting, a stabbing, and come on. We never had all that. They had a drug raid, they have kids running the streets, I didn't ask for your, you need to keep it down.
Kelly, I'm not.
I mean, I read the Courier Post, the first page, the guy from Woodlands, the home invasion in Pennsauken. Third page, there's a stabbing on Cedar Avenue. Shooting on Chestnut Street, a raid on Evergreen Street. I mean, come on, there's a shooting at the gas station, a robbery at the gas station. People were afraid to come out of the house. There was somebody robbed on Crossland. I mean, and you're saying there's burglaries and problems. So, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. If there's never any problems here, why would we have police sitting in here? I just think it's better to have them out in the street.
Well, they've been going in and out.
They've been called to hang out.
They've been going in and out.
In and out.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Any more questions?
Just real quick, Jerry Fuentes, 207 Cypress Avenue. On the touch point that we haven't had crime here, listen, I've been here 25 years. As a resident taxpayer, I could just say, you know what, crime's been here, and unfortunately, it's not something that we can prevent. Lately, these attacks, these stuff that's been happening have been from people from outside. Unfortunately, they come here and do this situation. I remember being on council where they took a senior citizen lady and duct taped her and tried to set the house on fire. I remember when they took a female and the jealous boyfriend, I was on council and this was something that went back. A jealous boyfriend had tied up the girlfriend and killed the girlfriend. So, this is going back from 25 years ago. So these are things that do happen, unfortunately. We don't want to see this. Nobody ever wants to see this kind of stuff. Collinswood just recently had a shooting, killing a young man on Collinswood. It's a tough time. It's a different era.
That's why we need the police.
And I think our police department do a great job here. These guys really do a great job. And one thing here, for people to say they don't do their job, then they're not out there seeing what they're doing.
No one
But
said
I
that.
just want to say that, they do a tremendous job, and, unfortunately, as small as we are, you get one thing, and then next thing you know, people are trying to play the scare tactic. This is stuff that's been going on for years and years, and like I said, our police department has done a great job, and I have to applaud our Woodlynne Police Department. Congratulations.
Yeah, Jeff Goodwin, 315 Cypress again. I just think we all have to acknowledge that the crime is getting worse. I'm not saying there wasn't crime before. We all know there was crime before. There's crime everywhere. But we need to have open eyes here and not be ostriches and pretend that the crime is not getting worse and not getting more violent. And so much is that tied to the low property values, the high tax rates. All of that is related to each other, which I've been talking about for 8 months or more. And we just need to have open eyes. If we bury our heads in the sand,
Blame for this.
if we bury our heads in the sand and stand up here.
Out of order.
If we bury our heads in the sand, we can't make improvements. If you don't acknowledge a problem, you can't solve the problem. Okay? So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, can I say something?
Yes.
We're bashing the police department.
No, sir, I didn't say
No one's
anybody.
bashing the police.
Police department. I just said
Excuse me,
the
Jeff.
police are doing
It's
great.
turn to talk.
Hello, everyone. Lieutenant Robinson. You want my address?
here.
Okay. Listen, the stabbing on Cedar, that was domestic related. Ex-boyfriend came in the house, caught the guy in the house, stabbed him 22 times. Okay? The shooting at the basketball courts, drug related. Okay? It's not just some random like stuff just happened, it was drug related. It was a setup. The person didn't give whatever up, and he got shot multiple times. Unfortunately, a child got hit. We're doing everything in our power, and we're still not resting until they're apprehended. Now, I'm not gonna blow our investigation because you guys are gonna sit up here and bash us like nothing's happening. There is gonna be an arrest made. Actually, there's one arrest made, and he's sitting in the county now, and we're looking for the other one. So, what else? What else are you guys bashing us about? What's the next one?
We're not bashing you.
Nobody.
We want to support you.
Okay. The next one. Instead of being here, you're absolutely right. I was here during the day. I stayed. I'm not working tonight. So that's the reason I'm here. Okay? What's the next question? What's the next bash?
It's not a bash. We want to support you.
It
We
is.
want you to
It
be
is a
supported.
bash.
It's not. We're scared. We're not upset with you.
Time out. We sit up here with this bullshit internet, bashing the police department like we don't do anything. What's the next one?
Who's bashing you?
Out of respect for, is there anything else?
Lieutenant, out of respect for the brother.
You don't respect anything?
Out of respect.
Please,
What's talking to the public?
Jeff,
I support you.
Go sit down, please. Go sit down. I thank everybody that came out today and spoke. Like I said, this should be a two-way communication, not one way. Whatever energy you have when you come here, it's usually going to react back with the same kind of energy back to whatever you brought up here. And if there is anything we should have derived from this conversation, it will get lost right away. Needless of going back and forth. I just want the police department to know that we, the council members, including myself, we are 100% behind you and what you do for our community. I am not going to agree in any form or manner that we are having a crime rise in our community. No, we do not. Things happen. Some people come in here to take shelter under our peaceful community to do their underworld work. I've seen people driven all the way from Camden come in front of my house. Just sit down there and I'm watching them. They tie up their hand. After they finish shooting, they put their chair back and they'll be like that. Now, thank God there is no car in front of them while they're resting. All you need is to tap a little bit, go boom! And you'll be lucky if there's a car that they're gonna hit and keep going. Now, does that mean that our neighborhood is getting bad? No. We have to stand and fight it.
We have to fight it. It's not getting
I know a couple
bad.
of people in my street who are selling drug and using drug, and I told them, you do it in your house. As long as you come out here to do it, it becomes a public problem, and I'll call the police on you. One of them came to me when I came back from DC at night and said, why did you call the police on me? I said, because you have a house. Go do your drug in your house. Right in front of my house. He talked too much. I went to my truck, opened up all the valves that I keep picking. I said, you see this? Until I stop picking this around my surrounding, if I see you outside, I'll call the police on you. Case closed. So let's take initiative. If you cannot take initiative, call the police. I go around and see things that are not the way they're supposed to be. People park on fire hydrant, park it any way they want to park. One leg on top of the car, one leg down. I'll take a picture, send it to the police, let them go deal with it. Because that's what they're supposed to do. And they've done it. So please, when we come here bringing a negative energy in our town, all I'm saying to you, you are bringing a negative energy in our town. And guess what? It's gonna react that negative energy back. So we do not have all these issues. And those who like to be pompously jumping into issue, trying to be the one to break the news, please let our police department finish their work before you interject. Because you could say things that are not really a reality. And then the residents will clamp on it and hold it, and it keeps circling, echoing out and out, which is not a reality. That's not right to their police department when they do an investigation. And we should not be doing that with all due respect. And respect is a reciprocal. At this time, I move for adjournment. Motion to adjourn. Motion by